what is the easiest way to destroy a state? History says cut off the head. The body will fall by itself. This formula of imperialist war policy is not new. The Romans discovered this formula. The British have used it for years. In today's modern era, it is being used by the United States and Israel in the form of technology. The plan was simple. Kill the frontline leadership. Break down the chain of command. Frighten the people. Then the state itself will collapse. The picture was almost the same for Iran. The 28th of February. After the attack, when news came that Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei had been killed, many assumed it was game over. America's new branch was now Iran analysts, sitting in television studios making predictions. Within a few days, there will be a power vacuum in Tehran. The army will split and the people will take to the streets to overthrow the government. Iran still survives by giving the thumbs up to analysts and the Mossad intelligence agency. A month of war has passed. The city is destroyed. Hospitals and educational institutions have been targeted. The top commanders are the same. A was killed. However, the Iranian state system did not collapse. On the contrary, their resistance has become more intense in some places. So the question is reversed now. How is Iran still standing? If you want to find the answer to this question, you must understand that it would be wrong to see Iran only as a state. Iran is actually a multi-layered structure, where power is dispersed among systems rather than individuals. Iran's political system looks theological from the outside, but inside it is a kind of complex web of power. The supreme leader is of course the central symbol. But every level of the state has options. The leadership is prepared so that even if the minister falls on the chessboard, the game does not stop. This is where the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps comes in. Many analysts call it a state within a state, because it's not just the army. The economy, intelligence operations, internal security and even ideological control all take place in their presence. Many of their commanders were killed in the war. But the structure of these guards is such that when one is killed, another immediately takes over. Here leadership is not a personal power. It is a continuation. Because from the outside it seems that the leadership is destroyed, but the war or the machine goes on inside. Another important pillar is the Basij army, a voluntary paramilitary organization of about 10 lakh members. When the war broke out, when many thought that the cities would be plunged into chaos, instead basis members patrolled the streets. The car is stopped and searched. Retains local control. The collapse of a state usually begins in the streets of the capital. But the streets of Tehran are silent. Rather, the Iranian people are mobilizing for the war on behalf of the government. War. To continue, Iranian women are even removing their body jewelry. After the war started, the government quickly restricted the internet. In today's world, the internet is not just communication, it is the oxygen of movement. Cutting off that oxygen makes organizing protests difficult. The anti-government protests that once rocked the country have all but disappeared since the outbreak of war. People returned home partly out of fear and partly out of a sense of national crisis. Because there are other rules of war. Attacks from outside often reduce divisions within. Iranian society, despite many differences, nationalism quickly became active in the face of foreign aggression. The state is then not only a government but also a symbol of resistance. This is where Iran's long-term preparations come into play. Ever since the revolution, the country has imagined itself as a blockaded state. Restrictions, isolation, pressure are not new for them. As a result, they have gradually moved towards self-sufficiency in many areas, from economy to military technology. A peculiar combination of science and religion is a characteristic of Iranian political philosophy. University, research, missiles, technology is seen as something of a national responsibility. The results of that investment were visible during the war. While the United States and Israel are claiming that Iran's military capabilities have been destroyed, the missile launch at Diego Garcia, some 3,800 kilometers away in the Indian Ocean, has reminded the world that the capability is not completely exhausted. A battle of expectations is easy if the enemy collapses quickly, but if he survives, it is in favor of the attacker. 0 hours 5 minutes and 15 seconds. In the face of tactical questions, that is what happened to Iran. Another major factor is international equation. Although China and Russia did not go to war directly, diplomatically and strategically, they did not allow Iran to be completely alone. This balance of global power has limited war. As a result, a full-scale attack has become politically complicated. The new supreme leader, Mustafa Khamenei, is making very few public appearances. There are rumors about this. But the paradox is that his absence may be part of a security strategy. The more invisible the leadership, the harder it is to target. Now, the biggest question is this war: who is managing? Not an individual, but an institutional memory. Countries like Iran, Lebanon, Libya, Bahrain, Tunisia were dictatorships and dynasties. As a result, only by removing them, the country could easily be brought under its control. But this is where Iran differs. Chains of command, decentralized decision-making, and normative training built up over many years have created a system where orders flow only from the top down. The battle continues from below. Iran is not a state of one leader. It is a habitual state. Prevention is a social culture, not a political principle. Israel and the US may have thought that destroying the leadership would end the state. But they probably underestimated one fundamental thing. Some states run on ideas rather than individuals. And ideas are hard to dumb down and destroy. The war is not over yet. No one is sure what will happen next. But a month's experience has at least made one thing clear. Iran's regime is not just a power structure. It is a combination of long preparation, ideological organization, security apparatus, and national mentality. That state is always itself. 0 hours, 7 minutes, and 12 seconds. Blockade finds it difficult to break that state. And maybe this is why, even after the leaders are killed, the war continues at an even pace, sometimes more intense. Ultimately, the question is not just about Iran. The question is about the nature of modern warfare. In the 21st century, is it really possible to defeat a state just by cutting off its head? Or the world has now